All right, to start off with the 2030 Advanced 3D Modeling Architecture class, we're going to spend a couple of weeks doing site plans, a couple of different um, methods of doing site plans. And this first one, I am giving you a few files, one of which is an Excel spreadsheet. It's a point file from a project that I used several years ago. And it's a bunch of X, Y coordinates here and an elevation. And if you open the file to look at it, and then it has identifiers here, which I use these. It worked great. The project that I was using it in then, I did not take it into Revit. We were working in something else. Uh, but now the identifiers don't they don't work in Revit. Anyway, what it is, column A is the X coordinate, B is the Y coordinate, and Z is an elevation, or column C is Z. It's an elevation. And this is what we're going to create right here. Now, there's two different ways that we're working with this, uh, and the one that I'm going to show you in this video and that we're going to work on this week would be like if we're doing an overall scheme for a neighborhood area. And so what we're doing here is we're creating our site, and then we're inserting the houses into it via a link, a Revit link. That way we can manipulate these houses easier. We can move them around, uh, raise them and lower them, rotate them, move them a lot easier. And our land is what's static, is staying in place. Okay, the kind of the other way, if you're dealing with a single structure, is you start with your building file and then you link or insert your site plan into it. So we're kind of doing the reverse of that because we want to concentrate on the site as opposed to the individual houses. So this is what you're going to end up with. So to start with, uh, let's start a new project with the architectural template. Okay, and we want to go to our site level. And we are going to go to massing and site tools, topo surface, and we're going to create from an import a points file. And you're going to go there into that. Well, you're going to download this folder from Blackboard, and you're going to bring in those. I'm not. Excuse me. I don't want to do that one. I'm going to stick with this one here. I'm going to keep that folder clean for y'all. Um, but you're going to bring in this spreadsheet. It's just called Revit test. That's what I had it as. So we're going to go open decimal feet. Okay. And then we're going to click our checkbox. Now we zoom out, we don't really see anything, so let's go to our 3D view, and boom, there it is. Okay. And so it created it. It's a landform. This is like a little lake down here in the middle. The CAD file that we started with this, we had a dam across right here. And it was supposed to be like a road and a bridge right here. So it kind of, excuse me, goes into there. Anyway, we've got a site plan with topo lines on it. And so just kind of let's run our site plan. Oh, yeah, let's go back to our site plan here. And you can see it's got it up here. It's not centered up. So just to make things easier later, I don't want. I want to move these elevation markers out. They're kind of hard to grab at such a scale. Yeah, I can just use the arrow keys. It's a little easier than dragging sometimes. Anyway, you're going to find it easier when we start dealing with the houses and stuff like that if you'll move your elevation markers up. So you you want to move your top one up too. Okay, so we've got our topos here. Let's change our view scale to like 1 to 60 feet. That seemed to work pretty good. And we're going to have to play with our view range. Let's see. It's set at 200 feet above the zero level. Bottom is low. Those are okay for right now. We may have to play with those again in a little while. All right, now then, let's start off with the lake. Now, there's a couple of different ways. Oh, I know what I was going to do. I want to put in contours so you can see what we're dealing with. So we're on the site plan. We're going to go label contours, and I want to drag a line across here. So you can see kind of what we're dealing with here. Okay, elevation wise. And we're going to make a lake at like 99 feet 5 inches, or not 5 inches, 99.5 feet will be our lake level. So we've got to go to an elevation view. Okay. So let's create a level, and I'm just going to drag it across there. I'm going to call it lake. Make it 99.5 feet elevation. And let's go to that plan. Go back to our site plan so we can see these. Now, if you remember, okay, the bold contour line is the 100-foot level, and the one just inside that is our 99. So we're going to draw our lake in between those. And what we're going to do is we're going to use a building pad. And it's going to be on the lake level. And let's go ahead and edit our type so we can change the color of it here. And I did a search for water. And down here in Autodesk Materials, it comes up. And so I want to load it up here. But I want to change my appearance. I'm going to change the color of it here in the shading to blue so I can see what it looks like in my thing. But my render appearance, let's change that to generic pond. And we can play with our wave height. That just changes the bitmap on it. Okay. So I think those are all good there. So we'll go okay. Thickness, that doesn't matter. It's not going to affect anything here because the building pad is solid thick anyway. Okay. Now we're going to sketch our boundary line because the topo lines don't, you can't pick them. So you end up having to draw your lines. And if you remember, it went, I'm just going to start across here. And I just kind of want to split the difference between those two contour lines, okay? Excuse me. Got a dry throat here today, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You can put some arcs in if you would like to have rounded edges to your lake. I do think down here I'm gonna go ahead and round these because we end up doing some of that later. So I'm gonna go with my fillet arc that goes tangent to two lines, and you can kind of play with your radius there. Okay, and so that looks kind of good, and we'll okie dokie that, and we could change this over to shaded. All right, so let's go back up to our site, and you see it made it, it brought all those topos up to make it a solid. Okay, so let's go to our 3D view, change that to shaded also. Okay, and so there's our little lake. Okay, now, well, there was also a stream that comes out of the bottom of the dam here. And so to do that, let's go back to our site level. And instead of doing a pad, because a pad, we wanted to make it level because water is level, duh, you know. So that's why we use the building pad. And let's see, just for giggles, let's put a section through the lake here. And so you remember it made our material was like 1 foot thick or something like that. um, and so it just brought dirt up underneath that level right there underneath it, filled it in. So we lost the contour lines underneath there. So if that's not what, if you don't care to keep the contour lines, then the building pad option works pretty good for you. If you want to keep the contour lines on the bottom, another workaround is to create a floor and give it a color that you would like and make it like 1 inch thick. And so that would work for it too. Okay, I'm gonna delete that. So I'm at 14 minutes. Let me pause the video here and start a new video, and then we'll move into the stream.